Welcome along to the Record Club, brought to you by Record Store Day, the official charts and National Album Day, and proudly in association with Bowers Wilkins. My name is Jess Izzat, and we are very excited to say that our guest today is Ider, chatting all about their amazing third studio album, Late to the World. If you have hung out with us here before, you will know that we're going to be spending the next half an hour or so talking to Ider all about the brilliant new record, and then we're going to be putting forward some of your questions about the album to answer. So if you want to get involved, drop us a question in the comment section below. I'll be asking a selection of them in the second half of our chats. Also, on top of that, one lucky person who sends in a question today is going to be randomly selected to win a pair of Bowers Wilkins PX7 Season 2 over-ear noise-cancelling headphones, which I'm modelling for you now. Don't miss out. The album sounds amazing in them, so get your questions to us. And also, I've got a copy of the record here, very nicely signed by the gals. If you haven't already got yourself a physical copy of the album, obviously we recommend you get one from your local record store once our chat with the band is over. But first, let's get into this week's Record Club and say a big hello to Megan and Lil from Ider. Welcome along. How are we, girls? How are we?
Good. We're good. Yeah, very well. Yeah, just kind of like
the album, the record, congratulations. I've literally been rinsing it. I've been listening non-stop since it's dropped. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, great. Feels like a long time coming, this one. We've been releasing singles for quite a long time, so we're very excited to get the whole project out and to take it on tour as well. Feels very exciting, which is coming soon. Yeah.
So actually, yeah, how long has the record been in the making for you? Like, which was the first tune? Which was like the catalyst that like made it go?
Well, actually, the first song that we wrote for the record was Zero. And I just thought about that. That was actually something I'd kind of forgotten about. Yeah, it was the first song. We made the record in Wales with a producer out there, and that was the first track that we went to the studio with. Yeah, which is kind of mad.
Did it make well, obviously your tunes are so well, they're produced so well, but like, do they make much change from the inception to the end? Like, did Zero change much?
Well, Zero was actually, we wrote it in the studio, so it kind of like all formed together in its current form. But yeah, definitely some songs will kind of sit down and write on the piano, like super stripped back, and then they really go on a production journey and become different versions of themselves. So it depends, really. Yeah, it depends on the track.
I was just going through the thank yous in this, and it obviously you mentioned about the studio in Wales. Why Wales, by the way?
That was where, so we met Dan Hume, who we produced the record with, and he was moving to South Wales and had just bought this amazing church that had been converted into a studio. And him and his partner were living out there and kind of like setting up over there. So we very much kind of went there to work with him, but totally fell in love with the church and the area. And yeah, it became a real like part of the process for us in a big way. Yeah,
that's really cool. Like, so was it basically like almost brand new refurbished for you guys, or
we were like the guinea pigs?
I mean, that's a good place to be, isn't it?
Yeah, it was amazing, and we stayed there as well. And we've never done like a residency studio thing before, and we really understood why it's like a thing. Like afterwards, we were like, okay, that really makes sense. That's why people do it. Yeah.
How long were you there for?
Kind of, well, off and on. I mean, we'd sometimes be out there for like 3 weeks at a time and then kind of come back. But the recording process was over the summer of 2023. So it's kind of started in June. But I mean, we were still going back there in like November of 23, weren't we? Yeah. So it really felt like a second home for a while. Yeah, it was amazing.
I also noticed that you said, I think it said something about like thanking Jem for bringing you into like witchy circles or something. What is that about?
So Jem is Dan's partner, and she lives at church as well. And she would do kind of, I think monthly or maybe a few times a year, would do these sister circles, and she'd open them out to the public, and people would come in. It'd be like these beautiful kind of circles in the
in the kind of like main hall room with all of the beautiful stained glass windows and stuff, and they'd be like, I don't know, I guess a bit of meditation, talking about different topics around like the cycles of the moon or like that kind of stuff. But it was actually such a beautiful thing to be involved in, because it just felt like we were on this kind of retreat.
Yeah.
You know, getting brought into this like gorge. We couldn't believe our luck, really. It was like such a sweet environment to be in.
I love that it's normally like a bit of a hippie retreat, but this one is a witchy one, which I feel like is quite on brand.
Yeah,
totally. We were also really watching Charmed at the time.
Oh my God, I love Charmed.
We were like, well, especially you were like obsessed with Charmed. And yeah, it was very on brand.
What's your favorite sister from Charmed?
Rude. Rude again. What about you?
I don't know why. I always loved Paige, and now when I go back, I'm like, why did I love Paige? But I don't know. I wanted to be Paige. Don't at me. I'm gonna rewatch and then rediscover who I'd want to be. All right, let's get on to the album. So, at what point did Late to the World become the opening track and the title track of the album, or was that always the case? Yeah, talk to me.
Well, actually, so we were on a walk together in Margate, which is where Lil lives, and we were talking about how we felt like late bloomers in life. And then I think I was like, oh, it feels just a little bit like you're late to the world. Like that's a kind of way of, putting it. And you said, oh, it's a really lovely name for a song. We should write a song about it. So that's kind of where it started. And so we wrote the track. And then, yeah, I think like much further down the line, we decided that it would make a good kind of album title, actually.
Yeah, that it felt thematically quite appropriate for the whole project.
Yeah, and actually, when we wrote the song and we first started recording it, it felt very, like, it was immediate that it should be the opener. And in my mind, I remember really thinking about how it will feel live and just like it would be the start of a show. So that's what really pushed us, I think, into making it the first track.
Do you think lots of, I guess I probably know the answer to this because your socials have been like popping off, but people seem to be really resonating with it at the minute, right?
Yeah, we've been getting a lot of messages off people. It's really lovely.
Yeah.
And I think that's quite an interesting thing, actually, is this idea of feeling like a late bloomer or being late to the world is it feels like such a singular feeling, or like you're the only one. And actually, the more we've talked about it and the more this album coming out, so many people feel the same way. And it just goes to show, like, what are we late for? And it's all your own perception anyway. And yeah.
And Killing the Game, I think I saw a video of you saying that you actually wrote that in the second lockdown. That's obviously a time where things are like going crazy online. I think, I don't know, did TikTok launch in that time or just became popular during that time as well? Yeah, how has it been with like people messaging you about this? Have you like heard some good stories to it, or like people saying that they've felt better because of it?
Yeah, I think like, yeah, we do get a lot of messages like that. People will really share a lot with us. And I think potentially it's because we share a lot of ourselves in our music, and we always have done. And for us, it is about the lyrics and the stories that we want to tell. So we tend to get quite a lot of people's life stories, which we love. And it feels very an honour, but yeah.
I think one of my favorite things, I don't know if you've done it recently, but like your confession box on Instagram. You need to bring that back.
We do bring back confessions. Yeah, that was really fun, wasn't it? We've kind of like, it'd be fun to do like a themed confession around the album, maybe like it kind of.
I think there was one that I saw. It was a comment like confessing that they actually did destroy their ex in a bar off the back of. You don't know how to drive.
Yeah, we get like, that's the thing, we get some real kind of like serious kind of like really deep moving messages, and then we get some really funny ones, definitely like around the confessions idea, and we're like, whoa. But yeah, a lot of
I read that and I was like, oh, don't know if they're encouraging that, but also fine. I'm here for the tea. There's like you mentioned, obviously there's some incredible lyrics in here. Is there one that would like make your MSN name back in the day? Or like one that when you wrote it, you were like, I'm so proud of this, like maybe built the song around it kind of vibe?
Oh, that's such a good question.
Yeah. I do have a favourite lyric of the album.
Do you?
Yeah, because I was talking about it with my sister the other day. It's from the song Quiet Violence, and it's in the chorus, and it's this is my shadow, she was always coming with me. And it's my favourite lyric because I feel like it completely, I don't know, it speaks to so much of the record for me, and just this idea of like owning and accepting like all of your different sides and the different things that life kind of throws at you, and bringing that with you rather than like, you know, wanting to push it away. So I'd say that would be at the moment. Yeah. What would you say?
That's a really good one.
Yeah. I don't know if that's MSN. It's a bit long for.
Or was it? Yeah.
Oh yeah, maybe not MSN vibes. That's some more emo vibes, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know, the only thing that, I mean, I think that is a really good one actually, so I'm not going to top it, but I would say another moment that I quite like is in Hard Enough to Let You Go. There's a love that keeps me for you, and there's a love that keeps me from you, which is kind of speaks to that same thing of like duality with that kind of stuff, where it's like the same love that makes you do something is the same love that takes you away from it, or whatever, you know. It's that kind of like that opposition and that duality that runs through life and that comes out in all sorts of different situations. But yeah,
I feel like you guys have a lot of that as well, especially when you're like mirroring and you're harmonizing and you're doing like a lot of the duality, and then also like some of the ones where it's like it's like the push and pull of like doing the right thing / acting on your emotion. I think one that I picked out was oh my god, I'm gonna get it wrong, but it's like something like going to therapy just to win the fights you're in, and I was like, that is cutting. I love that. I love that a lot. But yeah, has there been a surprising fan favorite since the release of the album? Like not necessarily the singles that came out before, but like one that you're like, oh, I didn't know that would be like the one people are talking to you about.
I think Quiet Violence has been a little bit, hasn't it?
Yeah,
it's kind of
I was going to say, yeah, that's the one that I think people have been like connecting with the most. Yeah.
And is there a song on the album that almost didn't make it?
There's quite a few. I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, it's hard to, once it's like you kind of put the album together, you can forget all the other little bits and pieces that kind of brought you there to it. But yeah, there definitely were. Yeah, there were a few tracks that didn't make it, but maybe there'll be.
But then there are any tracks on the album that nearly didn't make it.
Oh right, yeah, sorry, yeah, of course. Oh, Encore, the last one.
Yeah,
that was the last one that we did. Yeah, we threw in Encore quite last minute, and it was the last.
What was the decision with that?
Well, it'd been knocking around for a while, and I don't know. I just feel like we hadn't really approached it.
Yeah, and it was one of those last minute decisions where it's like the album's pretty much done, but then it was like, oh, is there not a 12th? Are we sure there's not a 12th track there? Is there not something else that it needs? Like that slightly more slower tempo, kind of heartfelt. Where's the new Heartbreak song? Yeah, that was I think our decision to bring it in. We were like, it feels like it's going to close the record nicely. Yeah. But yeah, that was definitely a last minute recording.
I was like pointing that out so that people who are listening can like go and like appreciate it a bit more because it almost didn't make it.
Oh, so good. I love
that. Yeah, also obviously it is all about embracing being a late bloomer, like that being the core message, and it just like providing that sort of comfort, like you're listening to it and you're just like, if you haven't achieved everything that you wanted yet, or like maybe you're starting something new. What about for you? Was it like cathartic? Has it like really helped you as well?
Yeah, 100%. I think that's kind of why we write music, isn't it? It's like figuring life out a bit, trying to make sense of things. And like Meg said, we're such lyrics girls, and those lyrics so often will come from conversations that we're having and kind of, you know, trying to figure stuff out and work through things. So I think the process of, and also when you're writing the music, you're in it. And then actually also retrospectively, since the music's been written, talking about it and really understanding the ideas that came out there has also been quite like healing as well. Or, you know, we've learned, I feel like I've learned a lot from that process, and just like understanding the cathartic kind of process of that.
For sure. I think as well, like this kind of where we kind of were at in our careers and like in our lives when we started making this record, it was so we were completely in that place, you know. It was like third album, you know, we were kind of like didn't really know, it was post-pandemic, didn't really kind of know where we were going, and we were kind of like, in terms of like the industry, like it can be, you know, it's so difficult, and that you don't see, you know, you don't see the kind of roller coaster that like every artist and every band like will inevitably go on. You just see the kind of the highlights and the big moments. And I remember feeling like, we should really write about where we're genuinely at, which is that, you know, it's like, yeah, we've had some like real big moments, and we're so lucky to be doing this as our job, but it's also like, yeah, you know, it hasn't quite worked. Things always go different, you know, they don't, there's no set template. It's not like this is how it is to be in a band and this is what your career will look like. It's like always different, but you just hear about that less. So I felt like we felt it was really important for us to express that, like where we genuinely were at, you know.
It's funny, I think, again, I've been like stalking all your videos, but there's like a comment that you made about it, like, I can't remember exactly what it said, but it was like, when things are going really, really well, like you don't like write a song about it because you're doing loads of stuff and you're doing all the bits. And then when you're having a moment and you're not sure of stuff, but then you write the songs about it and then people relate to it. It's just, again, it's like that duality, like that push and pull of what you actually want from life. What about like if an artist is listening at the minute and they're thinking like, I feel a bit stuck, like what kind of pulled you out of that when you were feeling a little bit like stuck like that?
Yeah, I think what I would say, I think honestly, the opportunity to make the album in the way that we did, which felt really like this protected creative bubble away from anything that felt too kind of timeline, industry, anything in that headspace. It was really just about the music and what we were trying to say, and that felt really protected and really special. And then probably being able to do it that way gave us then the steam to kind of put it out there and kind of,
yeah, we kind of went back, didn't we, to like the basics and kind of back to, okay, what's at the heart of what we do? And at the heart of what we do is our friendship and the conversations we have and like singing together. And it's like, as cheesy as it sounds, I really feel like that's what we did. We actually moved out of London and we kind of decided to, just focus purely on writing and singing together, which was how it started, like 8 years ago.
I think as much as your fans bond over confessing stuff to you and to the Ider community, they also bond over just loving your harmonies. So, definitely very signature Ider. Anyone who is watching, of course, you can get your questions to us. I can see a couple of people have got some good ones in that I'm going to be getting to in just a second. Another tune that I wanted to chat about was Girl, because when it came in, I was like, what is this low-key banger? Talk to me about Girl.
Girl we started actually writing when we lived in Berlin just before the pandemic hit. And it was like we'd just been on tour, we'd just finished tour for our first album, and we were like, let's move to Berlin. So,
as you do.
Yes. Let's go and be in a different place, be inspired, like write some new music, whatever. And we were like, maybe we'll be there for like months or a year or like, and we were there for about, I think, 6 weeks before the world closed down and we had to move back to the UK because of COVID. But Girl was born kind of in that little era when we were kind of just...
Yeah, that like one little hook in like the chorus, that was what we had. And then we didn't touch it for ages, for like years. And then,
and then we wrote a whole other song. And then, which then the mashup of that original hook and the other song became...
I think it was one of those moments where you kind of like, it was almost like you were ripping off yourself. You were like, I was like, I swear I've heard this before. And then I was like, well, this is something that you wrote, like, we wrote years ago. Yeah, so that's kind of how, and then we were like, this needs to be kind of like a proper kind of fall to the floor, like banger. It needs to feel like you want to, like, we wanted to keep it really minimal, but like you want to move with it. That was the kind of, the brief, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Simple, but yeah.
Yeah, I think I was like listening on the move or whatever and just came on in my headphones and I was like, oh, Slay, come on.
Makes you want to strut.
Like, yeah, exactly. You want to walk down like a nighttime street in a leather.
Exactly.
100%. Yeah. Stomping, definitely. Right, Grace on the Record Club's YouTube says, how do you think your sound has evolved from your first 2 albums?
Ooh. That's a good question. I think on this record we've pushed things kind of. I think it feels bigger in production, maybe more intentional as well with production, like really kind of choosing, not just throwing everything at every song, but like actually what we were just saying with Girl, it's like, how do we make this a banger but keeping it minimal kind of thing. So like intentional with the production. I'd say that, live drums as well. This record has live drums, which we had never recorded before. We've always toured with a drummer, but first time we actually recorded live drums. So I think that makes it feel a bit bigger as well.
Yeah.
And we have Emma on the Record Club's Facebook who says, if you could collaborate with any artist, which one would it be and why?
Oh my God.
It's such a big question.
Right now, because it changes maybe. You know.
Right now,
I don't think you'll say.
You know who I'm going to say. Who am I going to say?
I think you'll say, you've been listening a lot to the new Sharon Van Etten record. And I feel like,
Ride or Die. I just feel, just absolutely love her music and would love to. I also watched lots of videos about how they made that album with her band and stuff, and I'm just like, oh, you know, when you're like, I was in that room.
We have John on the Record Club's Facebook who says, which lyricists inspire you?
Oh, that's great. Okay, another really good question. Blonde Shell. Oh, yeah, she's a fairly new artist that we've got really into. Yeah, Blonde Shell, definitely. I'd say probably a lot of kind of country as well, with good, I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Kind of, who would you say? Yeah, or I mean, okay, obviously again very newly big, but Sabrina Carpenter, her pen, in that kind of country way, absolutely incredible. I'd also.
She's kind of sassy too, which I feel like you're injecting a bit of your lyrics.
I love Matt Maltese as well. His lyricism, I think, is amazing and really gets that. He achieves that tone of really, it's heartfelt, but with humour and irony and a knowingness. And I think that is what we really,
and that's what Phoebe
by.
Bridgers does that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see Matt Maltese on a lot of writing credits for artists, and whenever I'm looking at the writing credits, is because I like the lyrics. I'm like, Matt, I see you.
Yeah,
I see you on all of those. We also have Amelia on the Record Club's YouTube, who pinched a question of mine. But obviously you're going on tour. I want to know which song on the album you're most excited to perform live.
I would say it's either between Zero and Know How It Hurts.
Nice. I was going to say, yeah, Zero and You Don't Know How to Drive.
Oh, yeah. I feel like people are going to be singing that one loud as well.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah.
Is there any like arrangements and stuff that you have that you can tell us about, or anything exciting that you can tell us about on tour that people can get excited about if they've got their tickets? If they haven't, get them.
Yeah, we are doing. So we're definitely adding in some exciting moments. We were just in rehearsals actually the last couple of days. Yeah, we do a kind of end of. So we open with Late to the World, and we've added this kind of big band extension where we all just like go mad. Lots of strobe lighting kind of vibes. Yeah.
I haven't seen you with big band. I've come to see you before, but I've not seen you with a big band. I for some reason I always come to a stripped back show, which is amazing still, but that's why I'm so gassed.
Yeah, it's great. It's really fun.
And where are you excited to go as well?
Well, we're really excited for Berlin and also New York. Can't wait. We're going to the States North America in April. We're really looking forward to that.
Yeah, really excited for New York. Really excited for Chicago. I feel like Chicago sold out like quite quickly, and I was thinking like, this is interesting. What's happening over there? Yeah.
Chicago friends.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Thanks guys. Thank you so much. That's actually all we have time for today. Obviously we have loved having Meg and Neil from Ider join us on the show. Make sure to get your hands on a physical copy of Late to the World now that the episode's over. Pick one up from your local record store. Also, before we go, I'm excited to announce that the winner of this week's Bowers Wilkins wireless headphones prize is Emma on the Record Club's Facebook. So if you could please slide into the Record Club's DMs, we'll get those headphones to you. My name is Jess Izzat. Thank you for joining us and sending in your questions. This and all previous episodes are available to watch back on Spotify or YouTube. Meg and Lil from Ida, thank you so much.
Thank